right, so welcome back, you guys.
Thank you.
How's everything going?
It's going alright, I guess. Things are still the same. He's helping a little bit, but not much more than I would like him to. So it's kind of really exhausting and stressful trying to get him to constantly help me when he doesn't want to help me more, if that makes any sense.
Oh yeah, it definitely makes sense.
Okay.
What about you? How do you feel things are going right now?
I feel like I'm helping more than I was before. So I feel like I am helping, but she just doesn't appreciate it. She feels like she wants more and more.
Well, it sounds to me like you all feel, well, Lori feels that nothing's changed around the house or any situation, and you feel like you're doing a little bit more than what you were doing before you came in to see me last week. So what I'm hearing is that nothing has gotten worse, which is a great thing. You all somehow have managed to keep everything down as far as the conflict about the chores around the house. So I would applaud yourselves for that. That's a great step. What needs to be done? How do you feel he needs to show that he's trying to help out and do more?
Maybe take initiative. So some days when I'm late from coming home from work, I tell him I still have schoolwork to do for the night. If he could at least start without me, that would be great. So then I can, finish up with him, or even let him go relax and I can finish, just to kind of get the process of the cooking, the dinner going. So we're not sitting on our butts waiting, and then when I come home, we still have an hour of dinner to cook. So just kind of putting another step forward, I guess. I don't really know any other way he could help. I mean, his whole thing with the dirty dishes, of not wanting to touch dirty dishes. I love to cook, so I don't mind doing all the cooking, but then I usually have to clean up too, and that gets to be a really long process. Like, he'll clean up our dirty plates, but as far as like the dirty, like big dishes that I used to cook, he won't touch it because he has this sensory texture issue of touching nasty, gross food. So I'm trying to be respectful of that because everyone has their little things, but it puts a lot on me because I have to do all the dishes as well. So I appreciate when he does help me cook because I know he's not going to do the dishes. So it's like one or the other. So if you're not going to clean up, then please help me do the dishes, or please help me cook is kind of the thing. So kind of just putting a little more effort, I guess. I don't really know.
So I heard you mention that he does help cook, and I also heard you mention that he touches some of the larger dishes, but doesn't really like to do the smaller ones.
The smaller ones he does, the larger ones he doesn't. Yep, exactly.
So I feel like that is a good step in the right direction as well. Just touching the larger dishes instead of the smaller dishes. And what would get you to touch the smaller dishes? I heard her mention that you didn't like touching the dirty ones.
Yeah, so I mean, it's more of like a texture issue, but I mean, I help put away like the clean dishes from the dishwasher once they've been washed. Then it doesn't bother me because they're all cleaned up. But
Such a sweet talk.
hopefully you can edit that out.
Okay, so it's just more of a texture issue. It's not that you don't want to help her. It's just something that you need to overcome as far as the texture of the dishes.
Yeah, it's more of a texture issue with the larger dishes, and this, like plates and stuff isn't really as big of a problem, but I prefer just not having to. Just dishes are not something that I want to do, but I do help cook on more regularly than I used to before. So, and then I feel like she just wants me to do more than I do half the laundry now, where before she did all of it. So I feel like I'm helping out more than I was before.
Okay, that's good. The first session, I know you all were in a tough place. A lot of things, it was very bad for you all. If I'm in agreement, it's very bad as far as this issue. So it looks like this session, a little progress has been made. Now, what would be useful for this session? What do we need to do to make this session useful for you all so that you can progress on as the sessions go by?
I guess us maybe become more expressive to one another, be verbally expressive rather than kind of dismissing or shutting down. So when we're both exhausted, we both get really irritated with each other more easily than if we weren't exhausted at the end of the day. So maybe kind of realizing where we're at as far as our emotional level and being able to say to one another, you know, I need your help, instead of saying, you're not going to help me again. Like, be aware of our tone and our kind of our emotional state, I guess, is going to be helpful in being able to say nicer things to one another is kind of what I'm thinking might be more helpful, being more verbally expressive.
Okay. And what about you? How do you feel? What needs to happen?
Well, obviously, I'd rather not have to do any of it, but I'm making more of an effort to help than I was, and I just feel like she just keeps wanting more from me.
And by more, what do you think that more means for her?
She wants me to do more cleaning and more cooking and all of that, and I have been helping more. But every time it's not enough for her.
Alright, so I'm going to propose a strange question for you all. And this strange question is, imagine you leave here, we finish our session, you leave here, you go home, you watch TV, you cook, you play with the dog, just go about your normal, pretty much afternoon. And then late at night, everything turns off, everything's quiet, the whole house is at peace. You lay down, you go to sleep. But while you're sleeping, a miracle happens to where you basically don't have this problem anymore. This whole problem just washed away, it's solved. But you have no recollection of this problem happening or being resolved because you're asleep.
Mm-hmm.
What would be the first indication that something dramatic just happened? What would be the first indication that this problem is no more for you all?
He would start dinner because I'm running late. He would start dinner, and so when I come home, I would help him finish up, do it as like a couple thing each night because we're both exhausted, and obviously I don't want to take on all the responsibility. So I love cooking with him, and so it's kind of a bonding thing for me. So if we do the cooking together, sit down, watch our show that we like to watch, and eat dinner, and help each other clean up. Like, I'll wash the dishes, I can touch the stuff, but if he would just dry all the time, rather than me some nights cleaning up everything, I would love to do half of the responsibility. You know, and not like he has to say, oh, I want to do this, because who wants to do dishes? I don't want to do dishes, but just be willing to do it with me. That's how I would know the miracle happened.
I heard you say being willing and having it as a bonding moment. And if I can say myself, would you like to spend some time with Lauren? To have a bonding moment?
Yeah, but not doing chores.
Not doing chores. So your take on the dishes is it's a chore?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I say I'm willing to do it, she wants me to be excited about doing dishes, and there's not going to
No, I just said that. I don't want you to be excited about doing dishes. I want you to be, honey, I know this sucks for both of us, but let me help you. Let me give a hand, even though I want to sit on my butt and do it, and I know you want to sit on your butt and do it. Maybe it'll get done faster, just like we did last night. I helped you fold your laundry, and what happened? It got done quicker, right? So just like, I don't want him to be willing, because who wants to do dishes? That's just not reasonable. Hey, I love doing, no one wants to do dishes. It's more just, it'll be quicker, honey. You can get done with your homework faster. I can go play video games. We can go our separate ways. Let me help you. Let me take some stress off you and do half of it, and you can do the other half and do it together. That's what I would want. Because I know he doesn't want to do them, because who wants to do dishes?
But even when I'm willing to do half, just because I'm like not the most thrilled about it, you're upset that I'm not like happy doing them with you.
Because you give me attitude.
Because you're making me do dishes, what I don't want to do.
Yeah, but why should I have to do all the dishes?
You don't have to do all of them. I put all the clean ones away.
But I just spent an hour cooking dinner, so...
I usually help you cook dinner now.
Now, but the other times you didn't.
You can dwell in the past, but I can still help you do it now.
Yeah.
So we're going to focus on right now, because it looks like you all are still having this same issue as far as you're wanting him to do a little bit more as far that he feels that he is doing a little bit more. So I'm going to get his take on what his miracle day would be, because it seems like doing dishes would be a chore. So what would your miracle day, what would you wake up saying?
If she does all the cooking and cleaning and I don't have to do any of it, would be the ideal, but that's not realistic at all. But yeah, I mean, if it was a miracle day, yeah, I would get home and she would have all cooking done, ready to eat with me, and then clean up once we're done. But with her in school and spending 60 hours a week away from home, it's not realistic at this point.
So you do understand that she is doing or taking on a lot at this point, as far as
yeah, and that's why I pursued a better job, and now I'm able to tell her that she can quit her current job, so she can focus 100% on school and what comes after school's over.
100% of school. Okay, so it sounds like you are acknowledging that she has a lot on her plate, but you're also acknowledging that sometimes you all are not having that quality time that you all need to have. I mean, every relationship should have some quality time spent.
Yeah, she
That's
spends
healthy.
multiple days a week gone doing therapy and school and all the other stuff.
That must be very difficult for you to kind of.
Yeah, coming home to an empty house isn't the most exciting.
Okay. Well, I know that I heard both of you in the mix of everything else say that you all enjoy spending time with each other. You all are on different pages as far as how you would like to spend time, but I think we can get to the point of wanting to kind of come together and do something that you'll both relate to, that you'll spend time with, especially trying to change your outlook on how doing dishes could be a chore, and then trying to change your outlook on pretty much seeing that he is willing to do things just to spend that time with you.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have to focus on that a little bit more. Before this session, we didn't have any game plan. We were just lost in the clouds pretty much about how we were going to attack the issue. But it looks like y'all were experiencing or learning a little bit more about what each other wants at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So you're wanting more as far as cleanliness around the house. Now, when you say cleanliness around the house, does that just involve cooking, or is that any situation?
Not really. I mean, right now, like, before, I had some friends over, like, I had to clean the house and do a bunch of stuff, but we don't have people over often, so when no one's here, our floors get dirty from our dog, like, just messy, and I'm okay with that, because it's just going to keep getting messy, because our yard is flooded, and it gets mud everywhere, so I don't care that the house is messy, I can handle it. But then the days when someone's coming, he actually has been very good about helping me. I do tackle the toilets and the bathrooms, and because that doesn't bother me. He gets really grossed out. I don't care. It doesn't bother me at all. But he does do the vacuuming, which I hate doing, and he does help out with that. It's more the day-to-day tasks, I guess, because it has to be done every day. I mean, you can't go without dinner, and we can't afford to go out and spend fast food or whatever every night. So it's something that has to be done. So I think it's more the cooking and the dishes is the main thing that's kind of been coming up and bothering me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, sounds to me like he does some pretty awesome things.
Yeah, he's been doing really a lot better. I don't know what changed, but it's great. It makes me feel like he actually cares. And that he sees me, that I'm stressed and pissed off that he's not helping. But when he does help, it means a lot.
How does that make you feel hearing that come from her?
It makes me feel good, because I have been trying harder to help around the house. Just the day-to-day stuff is harder because after a long day at work, I don't really want to go cook. I don't enjoy doing it. I do it more as a chore. That's more of a chore as well. Especially with the size kitchen we have currently, it's crowded for us both being in there. And that's why we are looking for a house for a place that we both have room to make things easier for both of us. But right now it's a small little counter, not only room for both of us, and makes it a lot harder and makes it a lot messier.
So space seems like an issue that could be preventing you from wanting to be in
Yeah,
the same.
definitely. 'Cause I enjoy cooking, but man, when there's no counter space, that's like not ideal. It makes it even more stressful. And I love him in there, but it does get kind of stressful because we're like running on top of each other, like move please, like I'm doing this, and it's just horrible. So yeah, that space is definitely a stressor for our kitchen time right now. And I think once we do have space, it'll be a little bit more fun to do it together as well because
And even if I wasn't doing it, I think she'd still enjoy it more.
yeah.
Simply because she still has more room for herself, and then also we'd ideally have open plans, so then she can be in the kitchen and I can be in the living room, but we can still see each other and communicate. So I think that will help, but
Yeah.
obviously she has to finish school before we can move to that step.
Yeah.
Okay. Lori, earlier you mentioned that you don't like really vacuuming, but somehow he always steps up and takes the responsibility of doing that because it's something that you hate doing. Is it safe to say that it's considered a chore for you to do?
Yes.
Okay. And it sounds like the chore for Aaron to, I had Alex, I don't know why. Aaron to do would be the dishes.
Yeah.
So is there a way to where you all can compromise on saying, hey, I don't like doing something, but this person picks up the slack for it? Or is there a way to where both of you all can work together and do something?
Yeah, it's a great idea. The thing is, cooking's every day. Vacuuming's like maybe once every like 3 months. So it's like, I see where you're going, but with that sort of chore, it's a little different. If that makes any sense.
Gotcha.
But I see where you're going. Yeah.
So you're definitely looking at it every day versus maybe how often do you vacuum?
We don't do it that often, like she said. When currently our backyard's flooded, so our dog drags in a lot of stuff. So to vacuum every day is just a lot more work than it needs to be. Which another thing, moving would prevent all of that, hopefully. But so I mean, not often.
Our vacuum sucks. So, I mean, it barely picks up hair off the carpet, and which is another reason I hate it because I feel like it's not even doing much, and so it stresses me out to even take the vacuum out, unwind it, plug it in, and barely picks up anything. So he's really good about getting the hair off the wood floors that we have, but the carpet is
No one can get off
no one.
unless we get a better vacuum.
Yeah. So that's part of the reason we don't vacuum that often is we're like, it doesn't work anyways, might as well just wait. So, but yeah.
So it sounds to me like Aaron, he picks up a lot of extra responsibility when it comes to vacuuming because of the vacuum situation, like the handling or the issue with the vacuum. And it seems like you pick up the bulk of the weight when it comes to cooking and cleaning, and you're just all wanting an even balance on things going on as well as spending time together. So how do you see things working for him to come in, like knowing that he considers cleaning to be a chore? What is a different alternative that you can use as far as trying to get him in, to helping you clean up just a little bit more?
Give him something for it. Bribe him.
Right?
I don't really know. You know, I try to be sweet about it. I try to say, hey honey, would you please come help me? Do this, you know, I have homework to do tonight, it'll be done quicker. But then some days he does it, and some days he gets defensive. I don't do enough around here, he'll say, and nothing's ever enough. And then I start feeling bad because I'm like, well, you know, I think you're doing a lot more, but tonight I have a lot of homework, and so I appreciate if you could just do a little bit more, like what I just asked you to do, so I can get to my stuff. Because I have this due a couple days from now, a day from now, whatever it would have to be. And so just not giving me attitude, I guess, is something that I would really appreciate. Not, especially when I'm trying to go about saying it nicely. I don't really like getting yelled at. It's kind of a trigger for me. Yeah.
So you feel that when you are asking nicely, he's not really receiving it.
Yeah. Like I said, some days he does, some days he doesn't. I think the more days when he's super exhausted and just doesn't want to do anything, then he'll be defensive, which makes sense because I do. But I just wish he could see how exhausted I was and stuff I still have to do later on. That he'd be like, oh, honey, I get to game after dinner, and so let me help you real quick so you can get to your stuff, and I'll go relax upstairs with my friends while I go video game. So just being able to see my side of it, that I don't get a break, and it would be nice if he could just do a little bit more at least that day so I can get my stuff done, so I don't have to stay up later or whatever the case may be.
And how do you feel about hearing her say that? You feel like...
I mean, there's some days that I'm just exhausted because I'm hella late at work. I work in a very high stress situation in the financial field, so I get really exhausted some days simply because I'm held there for an hour or longer than I usually am, and I get up at 6:30 in the morning every single day. So
that must be tough for you.
yeah, she sometimes is able to sleep in more often than I can. So I sometimes just don't have the energy by the time it rolls around to 6 o'clock. When she was able to sleep in some days and not have to leave the house till 9 o'clock, and I always leave the house by 7:30 every day.
So you both have very productive lives.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. Commend yourselves on making it. 'Cause that seems a lot busy, and then you have to come home and then you have to worry about everything that comes along with that outside of your days.
Yeah, it gets pretty exhausting for both of us.
Exhausting.
We just want to sit on our butts and not do anything and have someone cook for us, but that's not real life situation.
So have you all thought about alternatives as far as dinner to maybe take away the load of you cooking every night? Like maybe going out to eat or doing dinner or
Yeah, the main
ordering something.
reason we don't try to avoid doing that is one, because of health. We want to try to cooking ourselves as healthier alternative, and also cost. It provides leftovers that we can consume later when she's not around or when she takes it with her. But going out doesn't provide that, and then the cost of it. Like we are on one income, so the one income kind of makes it harder to be able to afford going out more often.
But we did come up with an alternative. Is like on Sundays we meal plan, and so sometimes we come up with meals that we know will provide leftovers. So I'm not cooking every night of the week, so we can just reheat leftovers. And Aaron's really good about reheating leftovers and doing that before I get home and just kind of starting that. So I really appreciate the effort he puts there. But yeah, so we realize how exhausting it is to cook every night. So then we try to do big bulks of meals so we can just reheat food later on in the week. So that is something that's helped a little bit.
That sounds like a very efficient way to kind of go with you all's lifestyle at the moment. You all do the meal plans. Does he help you or do you help her kind of make up the meals or?
It's about 50-50 at this point. When she's not able to, I do all the shopping. I do all the shopping every week. Some weeks she's able to come with me, some weeks she can't. I do all the shopping, and then I make the list for groceries every single time. Even if she chooses what she wants, she sends me the link and I create the grocery list.
Yeah, he's gotten really better because I get exhausted of finding recipes because it's the same old stuff, and I always ask my classmates for new recipes because I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sick of this. I need new stuff to cook. And so, sometimes it does get exhausting scrolling through Pinterest and like, I don't know, this could be good, this could be bad. So, he's really stepped up at, when I'm doing my workout on Sunday mornings or doing what I need to do, he'll look up some recipes and say, hey, what about this? And he has been doing a much, much better about helping me with that too. So I guess he does do more than I gave him credit for. Yeah. talking about this, I just realized that he has actually done a lot more. I think it's hard some days when I'm so exhausted that it's hard to see, and I don't think that's fair to him. But I think he can understand when you're exhausted, you just don't want to do anything, and you just put it on the other person, even though it's not their fault.
So I seen a big smile come over your face.
She finally realizes.
How does that make you feel?
Good, because I've been waiting for that realization for months.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to remember, but he really does. He really does do a lot.
And it seems like you all take on an even load when it comes to the responsibility of cooking and stuff. You do the cooking, which is something that he does every so often from what I heard you say, and then he actually goes out and does the grocery list and does the recipes. So it seems like y'all are working pretty good together as far as food in general.
Yeah.
Y'all just have different roles, and I guess it's working for you all because the problem hasn't gotten worse. We just need to focus on making it better. So he's doing more of the outside shopping, you're doing more of the inside cooking. So
yeah,
we just need you all to kind of collaborate in the kitchen a little bit more as far as what would be helpful for him to do for you, and what are you comfortable with doing in the kitchen when she's cooking and she's asking you for some help with the dishes. What are you comfortable with sharing responsibility of?
I mean, I typically do all the mixing or getting ingredients out and stuff, but there's not enough room in the kitchen for both of us to be chopping anything together or like mixing two different things in two different bowls. Like, there's not enough room for us to get anything done. So right now it's a little bit harder, but hopefully it makes it easier once we have a bigger space.
So because of the space issue, what would need to happen as far as getting him on the page of doing the cleaning? Would you rather you do most of the cooking by yourself because you like to enjoy your space, and then like later on he comes in and he does the cleaning? Are you comfortable with the dishwasher?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always the one who empties all the dishes whenever they're clean, so I always do that. She doesn't really do that at all.
And I load it. You would typically load it, start it, and then we'll change the board on, and it'll say clean or dirty, and then he'll empty it when it's clean, and then I'll fill it up to get when it's dirty, and then.
So when you hold the dishwasher, how are the dishes looking?
How are they looking? Like as far as like if they're super dirty or not. Yeah, I rinse them off, and I pretty much do most of the washing in the sink, and then I just put them in the dishwasher for an extra run through. Is that what you're asking? Yeah.
So what, you don't like touching the large dishes that are dirty.
Yeah.
And she rinses off the dishes and has them soak for a little bit before she puts them back in the dishwasher. So what would have to happen for you to be able to touch the dirty dishes if they're rinsed off? So
I mean, that's not an issue if we just have to set them into the dishwasher, because I already do that as is. It's more just like when she wants me to reuse my hands and rub it off, and that's just,
Yeah, and sometimes the dishes can't go in the dishwasher because they're newer dishes from our wedding, and so you can't put them in the dishwasher. So like the cutting boards and like stuff like that. So I do ask him, like, can you please come dry these, because they're like giant boards, and I'm like washing them, and I'm like, it's easy to just pass it to him and have him dry it. So he's been doing a lot better when I ask him. So he does just feel disgruntled and fine, 1 second. And I'm like, okay, and sometimes I'm like, I don't want to ask him because I don't like this attitude, because I feel like he's mad at me for asking him, but I would like some help. I'm washing all these huge dishes, and I don't want to dry them too. I think it'd be nice if he could just come dry them, which he does, but he just doesn't. He gives me attitude, and I don't like it.
So it sounds to me like Lori feels you do a lot and you're very helpful, and she appreciates that. She just asks that she gets a little bit more collaboration from you without a response that she doesn't really take as a pleasant one.
I'm not going to be thrilled to do dishes. I don't think I ever will be, so I guess it's harder for me to be excited about it. But if I'm helping him in there, it's not because I'm mad at her, it's just because I don't want to do dishes.
And there my next question. Are you happy that he is taking the initiative to do it, as far as even if he doesn't want to because you know how he feels about it? Are you satisfied with him just doing it?
Oh yeah, I'd rather have him do it and complain about it than not do it and run upstairs and hide because he knows I'm going to track him down and do it. So I'd rather have him say, make the giant sigh and fine, I guess I'll do it, and come do it and complain. But sometimes that leads to kind of joking around because I start laughing because it's just kind of funny how big an attitude he's having. I'm like, really? And then we start laughing about it, and he's like, I don't want to be in here. God, why not? And then I just kind of joke with him. So sometimes it leads to a playful, weird playful thing. Sometimes it leads to just, if I'm exhausted, like I said, when I'm exhausted, I just don't want him to be around anyone. I'm just like, okay, well, don't, and sometimes that leads to a fight. It just depends on the day.
So it ends playful.
Those are the days I like, yes.
That's a good day.
Yeah.
So hearing her say that she'll be satisfied even if you kind of, in her words, grind bone and kind of just, whatever, let out a sigh. Are you still willing to do that?
Yeah, I mean, I do. But she expects me to be more happy about doing that. And that's not going to happen.
And it seems like you all just need to accept that what one may feel should be like a happy and pleasant experience or something that someone should be thrilled at. The other may not feel that way, but they are willing to go the extra mile to do something for you just to make you happy. Just to create that bonding experience that you wanted to share.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So, before this session, you came in, how would you rate the problem that you all are experiencing?
With 10 being the worst?
10 being the worst.
I'd say about 7 or 8.
What about you, Aaron? How would you rate the problem before this session?
4 or 5.
Alright, so now that this session is coming to a close, how would you all rate the problem after, the miracle day and hearing each other's point of views about the situation?
Probably 1.
1. That dropped very...
Because I came to the realization that it actually does do a lot more. And that I'm very appreciative of that. And I'm very lucky because I've seen a lot of other husbands and boyfriends that don't do crap for their partners. And I'm just like, wow, I actually have a guy who's actually willing, even though he doesn't want to help me. Because he knows that it does help me out a lot. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, it sounds like you had an aha moment.
I did have an aha moment, which is, I was not expecting that.
What about you, Aaron? How would you rate this session now?
She says a 1, I say a 1.
Is the 1 how you feel it goes?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's an issue as much as she does, so.
So what we'll do is, because it's the 1 we have to work on for the sessions here on out, keeping it at a 1. So it looks like you all are on the same page as far as wanting to spend time with each other, sharing equal responsibility in different ways, and appreciating one another, because you both have mentioned you all live very busy lives. So I commend you all on making time for one another, even if it's just in the little small ways, as in washing dishes or doing the meal planning on Sundays.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
We try to make it work.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next week.
See you next week. Thank you.
Cool.
How long was that?